So there I've cut them out, but they can still look a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is finish them off a little bit using a sanding block like the Coordinations block. And I'm just going to go around the edges just quickly and catch any little ragged bits you can find. Just smooth them off, and then it'll look more like they've been you know, die cut than just quickly cut out, because I'm not the best at cutting out. I'm too impatient. So you see that's a little bit better there, and the same with the Dragonfly. Just go ahead and catch any little areas. The other thing you can do is if you've got a little bit of the white showing, go back with your dabbers. So for example, we can go back for the Dragonfly with this dabber, and it'll still have some moisture in there, and just catch the edges just to get rid of any little bits that are maybe tipping through there you don't want to have any attention drawn to. What I didn't mention was as well is I've cut into that, can you see? So I've separated the wings there. So this is a great thing as well actually. The dabbers are perfect for, you know, if you want to make it look like you've got another mat or layer on there. You literally can get a gorgeous even line around your card by just going around with the dabber. Alright, so that's tidied that up a little bit. Let's get the blue tidied up a tiny touch, and then we'll finish playing with them. Right, the head got just a little bit there. Great, I'm happy with that. Now, to finish off a little bit of embellishment and colour, let's work on the Dragonfly first. So I'm just going to make sure that's dry. Right, so we've dried that. I'm going to use a white gel pen, and I'm just going to go ahead and just define the areas on this little thing here. We'll give it a little, with the head, thorax and abdomen, would that be right? Sounds like I actually listened in biology, didn't it? And then continue just roughly, just to outline the area with the white pen. And again, this makes it look less like just a quick, simple stencil, which is what this is. Nice, easy one to cut out. Some stencils you really couldn't even begin to cut out. You want to hide into nothing before you start. But this is a nice, easy shape. If I can do it, you can. See, I'm not worried about being a perfectly smooth line. It looks actually better if you use a series of like smaller, shorter lines. Kind of sketchy. Sounds like a stamp range to me. So you can see how that's working, and then to give it a little bit more pretty, because this one we're going really pretty, add a little bit of a glitter glue, something like Twinkles or Cosmic or anything like that, just to add a little bit to the edges of the wings, give it a little bit more pretty bling to it. And that one there is then ready, I think, to go onto your card once it's dry. But when you do put it on there, just move the wings, you know, make them look like they've got a little bit of something going on. And you're picking up the shine there. And this glittery area will actually shine more once that the solution dries as well. Okay, so that was that. And then this one, which I want to be much more funky, much darker in its tone, is, you see this area where where the stencil actually masked, where we applied the concentrate dabbers with the cut and dry foam. That should take some distress inks really well. So I'm going to add some peeled paint distress ink over there. And that's what happens is the mica will repel the ink, but the area where there isn't any product will absorb it. So you can see, instead of that stark white which was far too much of a contrast, now we've got a really nice, more subtle colour change there with the pattern in the wings, keeping it still funky though. And do that, and if you want to darken it even more, you can do that. Get a bit of black soot in, as I mentioned earlier, which we might just well do. Nice and dark there. And then if you want to make it a little bit darker again, you can, as I mentioned, go with a little bit of the black in areas as well, just to give it a bit more tone and shape. Careful of those little bits at the bottom, because you can you tear those if you're not too careful. And we've got that looking really quite funky now. Now the other thing you can do is use the wording from the, we used autumn leaves in one of the backgrounds, so let's use the wording from that set and just ink it up with some black stays on this time, and we'll just put that over part of the wing there. And I don't want to make it so too obvious, but let's go maybe about there, so we're catching a bit on each side. And then we've got more texture and pattern in, and you wouldn't think, now looking at that started as quite a naive, really, but good, in a good way, making it simple to cut out, little stencil shape, which I'm really, really liking. I'm going to dry it quickly. So that should now be dry, and what I'm going to use now is a glue pen, just a quickie glue pen here, and I'm going to add a little bit more embellishment to this again. Now it's up to you what you want to do. You can just do some little dots if you want, just to give it a little bit more. Again, pattern on pattern works great, because that's when you look at all these fancy backing papers and things, you're wondering why they look so good. It's all about the layering and the building up of the texture on texture, and pattern on pattern, and it's you don't notice it until you stop and start analysing it and breaking it apart. So just a few dots on there, I think. I don't want to overdo that. Now what happens is, when it's this pen is wet, it's blue, but you can see this side starting to go clear already, and when it's clear it becomes tacky, which means we can also use the new foils we have.